Dwayne Maxwell is dominant left-handed. You will not see many right hands unless you have to from Dwayne. Keithahn is a little
The,
more ambidextrous, but he will use his left span a ton. He did not mean to stick that weight. He wants to be a clean board and make Dwayne lag on a clean board. He accidentally stuck a weight. Let's see if Dwayne really pushes at the end. At this point, both of them should have a pretty good feel for what end is lagging in, how much we have to push, how slow, how fast something is. But you see out the gate, Dwayne comes up short with the 1.
I'm not sure Dwayne had a chance to even look at the end there.
No, and that's a big thing. You know, you play the first 2 games, and you think you have a good feel, and then all of a sudden the wax starts to get a little slower, it gets a little colder, maybe gets a little faster, slower, whatever, and you throw the same weight that you threw in game 2 and it doesn't quite get there. That may be what you just saw there. So you see Keithahn here really pushing for the end of the board. He wants to find the lag early. He's okay with going off as long as he's getting a real good feel for the end of the board. Dwayne's going to play short here.
Eddie, I heard Dwayne say going into this game that he wants to make this a lagging game. So you're going to see a lot of short weights here, him protecting his left hand, keeping his lag lanes open.
I'm not extremely familiar with Dwayne's game. I know Keithahn isn't by any means an aggressive player, but he will get into some board play. So I don't know if Keithahn has the advantage on Dwayne in a board play game. What do you feel? I think you know these players a little better than I do.
Dwayne definitely has a come-around game. He can play aggressive, but I think he feels really good about lagging these boards right now, about the way his weights are running. He is the doubles champion from last year, and I think that's carried over to this year, and he's realizing that he can compete at this level.
I saw him play his first match against Kelly Cameron and over on board 11. It was a feature match, actually, and he just lagged and lagged and lagged and didn't get in trouble, just threw short weights, hit weights, and lagged. You see him hop a left rail there, which is very, very uncommon. Like we talked about earlier, he is dominant left-handed. So for him to hop a left rail that's really rare.
We are used to these weights coming off the rail a little bit, and some of these rails will hang on you.
Keithahn does not want to be that close to that weight, I promise you that. And that is why right there. So you see that weight's going to kind of spin back a little bit. Keithahn's going to let it quit spinning. Go ahead and throw his shot. It's a good stick right there. But again, we're going towards Dwayne's dominant hand. Dwayne's going to go ahead and check to see how deep this is down. Actually, no, almost looks like he's picking up a spot on the board that may have been tracked up. Not sure what he was doing there. Man, he barely edges that off again with his left hand. So Keithahn's going to go down there. Maybe try to make him stick something. Comes up a little short. So you see Dwayne's a very deliberate player. He will take his time. He'll go and get wax out there. He wants to. Not necessarily
Definitely has a routine, doesn't he?
Yeah, not necessarily a slow player, but very, very deliberate on what he does. Man, lagging a deeper one there is, I mean,
very rare.
Whenever you get a one splitting the deuce line from your opponent, you really want to push for the end of the board, and to lag a deeper one from a one splitting the deuce line is pretty rare. I mean, that's not going to happen much. So what Dwayne's trying to do here, like he talked about earlier, he's going to play short weights. He's going to make Dave just waste shots. And what I mean by waste shots is he's not going to let him feel the end of the board. He's not going to let him get a feel for the lag. By hitting and going with that weight, now that game plan is completely different. Now Dave gets a feel for the end of the board. He's going to go ahead and go down there and see if he can put a deuce or a three in there, get a good feel for it. Comes up a little short, but at least he knows now, all right, I got to push a little deeper for a deuce or a three. Dwayne's just going to, I mean, I'd be sticking this weight. I think you'd be sticking this weight. We're not just hammering off that weight. I think it's a pretty nice stick spot. Keithahn, with him just throwing a right cross, practice lag, now he's going to throw a left cross, protect his hammer on the other side of the board so that he can throw a right cross lag at the end of this frame, and Dwayne's just going to hammer it off. So you will see a right cross lag here, I'd imagine, from Keithahn. Trying to push a little deeper, obviously, than what he threw last frame, or last shot. And he threw it just a little deeper, not into a deuce, but
still allowing him to check that with his second weight.
Yeah.
Anytime you can not allow them to check it with their first or second weight, a lot of times they're not going to check it with their third. They're going to go ahead and protect their hammer.
Right. So now you see Keithahn. Keithahn may want to, he may not have a great feel for this end. He may feel like he's lagging fine, so let's just go ahead and play deep. What you don't want to do here is allow Dwayne to go ahead and check his lag. So he's going to throw a deep deuce three down there. Dwayne's going to go down there. Kind of surprised he's throwing a free hand. I mean, that's a. Now, this is the third game. So this is our first time watching this. So we may be kind of surprised that he'd throw a nice little finesse shot at that. Yeah. But if they've thrown that earlier in the first two games, then it's not as surprising. But it's still a.
I'm not sure he cared if he knocked that off or came up behind at the speed that he shot it.
Yeah.
Even though it would have been an aggressive play setting up on it this early in the game.
Right. Especially from what he told us earlier. He didn't want to get aggressive. He just wants to hit short weights and lag, you know.
Sure.
He's throwing some soft sticks.
Soft sticks. He's knocking them off about two weights.
You know, either that is extreme confidence, or he just doesn't have a great feel for the lines, and he's hoping the board brings it back. I don't know. So there you go. You get a short weight block. 3-2. Keithahn's up. I'd imagine he's just going to slam this weight.
You know, actually, that short weight that Dwayne throws, that sharp left cross, it does two things there. It leaves the whole board open to his left hand. At the same time, it looks like Keithahn right now is preferring to lag off the right rail, so yeah. Might end up having the lag lane blocked here or there.
Yeah, a little torn up. He's got a deuce there. But Dwayne took the lead 4-2. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say you'll probably see a short weight, huh?
There it is. Kind of surprised it's on the left rail.
Well, it's always going to be on the left rail because of how well Dwayne throws his left cross. If somebody wants to drop by it, he knows that he can go right in there and stick it and stick it and stick it. So a lot of his first weights are going to be over there on that right rail as opposed to the other side. He does not want to throw right-handed at weights.
No. He also has an excellent left-hand span, which allows him to even get to more of the board.
Yeah. So I'm not sure,
If,
Keithahn, not sure what he's looking at here. To be honest, I think he's just going to go ahead and stick this weight. I don't think there's much in it. Neither guy has just went out to a commanding lead on as far as a lagging end. I think they're both pretty content with the ends they're on. So this play here is predominantly, now you also are going to see him have to throw a right cross if he wants to stick that, or he's going to throw a left span. You want to see Dwayne throwing right crosses to stick weights. And Dwayne doesn't want to throw it, so he is going to just pass it. That's a free lag. Or if he can see that weight, it could be just a free right-hand stick. He's going to go ahead and lag here.
I think Dwayne passed that weight for the same reason that Keithahn passed it, is Dwayne's left was blocked, and where Keithahn threw that weight, he had his right cross lag blocked.
Yeah. We got another short weight out the gate.
Also don't think Maxwell's real concerned which direction he's lagging.
I don't think so either. So I think you'll just see really, I mean, we've mentioned it a couple times. He said, I have not lost a game that I've thrown short weights and just lagged. So I think you'll see him just bang weights and lag and throw short weights whenever he doesn't have the hammer and make somebody out lag him.
First match today, Dwayne got by two-time champion Kelly Cameron on a board. He controlled the hammer on the end that was really hard to lag, board 11 going towards the middle of the room.
Yeah.
And he actually lagged it very well.
Lagged it really well. I think at one point in that game, Kelly accidentally threw Dwayne's weight down with his last weight, and he went down there and said, hey, which weight do you want back to lag with? And Dwayne said it didn't matter. And Kelly said, yeah, it sure doesn't, the way you're lagging right now. Just throw back whatever you have. So pretty funny little interaction between those two in that game.
As deliberate as Dwayne is in shuffleboard, he's somewhat of a free spirit.
Absolutely. As you can tell by his outfit.
And his due.
Yeah. Man.
There he is, all over the end. I tell you what, there is no late release to that end. Those weights are ending up right where it looks like they're going to end up, aren't they?
So yeah, absolutely. It looks like that end right now is, once it gets there, it gets there. So I know we had a match earlier that we had a weight rubbed. We're going to have another one here from the camera that we're at right now. That doesn't look anywhere close to a 3, but you'd be surprised from another angle how close that may be to a 4. So the board manager here at Reno, Rob, who is the best in the business. I mean, you come out here to Reno and you see every one of your games with the time next to it, and there are hundreds of games going on throughout the day. Is pretty cool. So that weight did not move, so it will be a 3.
Boy, that would have, one more point there changes the complexion of the game.
And tell us why it does.
Well, right now, Keithahn's a lag away. Even if you were to lag a 3 or a 2, anything more than a 1 here, and Keithahn's still right in the game. But at 9-4, you're really pushing for a 3.
Yeah, and the other part about that is at 9, you're 2 lags out from getting out as well. You're a 3 and a 3, and you're out of this game. And with the way that he's lagging right now, he has to feel pretty confident from. If Keithahn does lag something big here at 8-7, as opposed to 9-7, he's pushing. Now all of a sudden it's 12-7, and then he's out in 2 lags. So 9's a pretty important number as well.
Absolutely. Something to be said for pushing for the end there. A lot of people, Dwayne had a chance there to, take a 1 or a 2, cheat a deuce and go up 2 or 3 points, but looks like he's going to continue to lag for the end.
Yep.
this level of play, you really don't see a whole lot of waiting on people, do you?
No,
Waiting on your opponent to catch you.
not much. There's a lot of stomping on the throat kind of games. I see a lot of people right here. They don't want to stick this weight, and so they're going to throw right-handed at it, right? They're going to hit and go because they throw a firm right hand. Dwayne doesn't want to throw his right hand, so he's going to go ahead and throw left across the board because that's what he's confident in. Keithahn draws a stick. I mean, 8-4, it's not necessarily what we consider a free lag because you don't want to get down 9-4, but I have a lot more confidence pushing at a weight on the board than I do without a weight on the board, even if it's 8-4. So, and with that said, Keithahn gets a deuce in there. So we'll see if Keithahn switches up here. He may want to switch hammer and get Dwayne off the end that he just lagged a 3 on. So we may see something a little deeper, maybe trying to draw a stick, possibly getting a deep 1 working, or being able to throw a deuce with his last way to make Dwayne stick. We haven't seen Dwayne stick something at the end of the board, I don't think, throughout the course of this game, at least in a monumental spot to where you need a stick to score. So if I know that Dwayne's lagging as well as he is right now, I'm not giving Dwayne a free run. I am making him stick a weight at the end of this frame to score. See a little left span there from Dwayne, checking that line. That line's perfect. So if I am going to throw a weight at the end of this frame, it's going to be a right cross on that side of the board.
Yes. Going the direction they're going, it looks like anything on the right side of the numbers, Dwayne's probably going to stick.
So like right in that area right there, which kind of is not good for Keithahn because now Dwayne gets to actually practice that spot. That's where I want my weight at the end of this frame because I want him shooting like you just saw right there. He doesn't want to throw a right hand. He wants to throw a left hand. So my right cross, I'd be throwing a deuce, and Keithahn's just going to throw off and let him go.
I don't know. Dwayne seems to be pumping them down there pretty good. I think I'd have tried to get a deuce in there. Looks like he backed off that a little bit.
So he's getting down there. Like I said, I'd rather him stick a deuce to score than lag a deuce right now with the way that he's
kind of free running with that lag right now, isn't he?
And you'll see a short weight here again. And it's really not an option here to switch to hammer. You know, 11 to 6 is not an option. So Keithahn needs to score here. He may want to get a little aggressive. Players like you and I may be looking at bumping up that weight as opposed to hitting it and trying to get something on the board, try to make Dwayne get into some board play here.
I don't think I'd have shot at those. I'd have tried to break him with that short weight game early on in the match, and particularly right here.
Yeah, I'm not.
It really doesn't matter if you're lagging against 1 or 2 ones. You're going to be pushing for the end here.
Yeah.
Not quite desperation mode, but
you know, and right there, I'm throwing a right span across the board. I'm throwing a right rail shot and making Dwayne blast his left hand and hit my weight off instead of just letting him throw a weight off. I mean, what's the difference right here between lagging between 1 and nothing?
Gonna have to get. Yeah, Dwayne definitely has the lagging in. I don't know if you could tell at that speed, but once it got over that deuce line at the speed it was coming in, it looked like it has that late break to that end.
So you'll see strategies completely switch here. This will be a 1 right in the middle of the board, hoping to draw a stick and getting some action on the board, as opposed to how they've been playing this whole game between very, very conservative short weights, lag, short weights, lag. That's also not you know, that's not a bad spot. If Dwayne misses that, then obviously Keithahn is covering it. If Dwayne goes in there and sticks it, now we're getting into a little sticking battle. The only reason I don't like this shot that deep is now you're giving Dwayne a feel for the lines at the end of the board. And at the end of the frame, that's where I want to be. I want to be at the end of the board making him stick weights. So I don't want him to have real lines, but so I want that weight in a stick zone to where I can go ahead and get in there. The less familiar he is at the end of the board, the better. But again, like we said, we are in game 3, so at the pro level, these guys should have the lines on this board pretty wired in.
Like Dwayne was just making sure that one went.
Yeah. Just don't understand that weight at all. That has to be on the board. Now it's just going to be a short weight. Keithahn has to either take off that weight and drop past it, and really drop past it's not an option. You have to hit it, and you have to stick it and hope that Dwayne. And for Dwayne right here, I'm not touching that weight. I'm just going past it. I'm making sure that I score here, and because if that weight goes off right there, now Keithahn gets a chance to put a deuce in there, and now you're having to stick a deuce. You drop past that weight. If he drops past it, you're scoring regardless.
Same thing as protecting your hammer.
Yeah.
You're basically playing this frame to score a point.
Yeah, exactly.
Looks like he gave that a push. He gave that a real good push. Yeah, got a deuce in there. Oh, it drew back. It's going to be close.
They may need a call on this weight. Let's see what he says.
Yeah.
All right, so we already saw a rub in this match. So a rub is whenever the weight is possibly hanging off the end of the board, they get a straight edge, they rub it, see if it moves. Right here you will see a call. In order to score the larger number in shuffleboard, the weight has to be completely over the larger number's black line. So you will see right now we're looking at a 1 and a 2. The 1 split in the deuce line, they're going to get three players. Actually, they're going to get Rob, the bracket man, 2 other players to look over the top of this weight. What they're looking for is really brown. They're looking for brown between the weight and the black line. If they can see board between it, which it doesn't look like it's a very hard call the way that these guys are looking at it. It looks like it's pretty clear cut. I think it's a 1.
I'm thinking Keithahn's doing this in desperation.
I think it's the other way. No, it is.
No. Dwayne was on his way down to mark the score when Keithahn had him come back and take another look at it.
Yeah, so it was not a hard call. These guys took a very
I've seen
short
some
time.
bad calls in my career.
See, like this weight right here from Dwayne, I'm throwing this weight off. 12-6. And I'm probably not I'm either passing that weight or I'm bumping up that weight on the right rail. And I'm most likely bumping up that weight on the right rail, not just passing it. The guys in our division are just way too good to just hop weights. You know, they're not just going to miss weights for the most part. You may get it every once in a while, but for the most part, will not happen.
It's a case of making something happen or waiting for something to happen. I would always rather be proactive in that situation and try and bump that weight up and create a come around.
And so that's what he tried there. He tried to bump up that weight. Which I think I'm kind of reverse on that. I'm trying to bump up the first one. If I can't bump it, then I'm passing up the next one and making him shoot at it. So here Keithahn, his third weight, I'm putting a 2 or 3. down at the end of the board, just praying that he hops it.
You really can't blame Dwayne for throwing these short weights throughout the game. I mean, he has a strategy, and Keithahn's allowing him to play the game he wants to play. At any point, Keithahn could have passed one of those short weights short.
I'm really, really surprised Wayne's picking up his right hand here and hitting this weight. It's 12-6.
Looks like he might be inside of it.
I mean, he's a great, great left-hand shooter. And it's 12-6.
That left rail's wide open, isn't it?
Yeah, it's wide open. For a guy with his left rail, if you hit and go with that weight, you're making him lag at 13-6. I mean, it's.
I tell you what, though, Dwayne won that doubles last year, but this in singles, this is uncharted territory for him to be. I don't believe Dwayne's ever got out this far in a tournament of this caliber. See, strange things happen at the end of games, you know?
A little bit.
Strange decisions. Golly, I should know. It's coming in. See that weight release, Eddie?
Yeah.
My gosh, it looked like it was creeping over the deuce line, and it just kept releasing.
Yeah, now there are players that are very ambidextrous, you know, where they don't really favor one hand or the other. So I would see them being able to throw their right hand. For a player like yourself, it doesn't matter which hand you're going up with. You can throw a right hand there because you have 100% confidence in it. But a player like Dwayne that is dominant left-handed, it doesn't make much sense to guess at something at that score and if you haven't thrown it, and he hasn't thrown it all game long.
That was a surprise. Just as much as a surprise as Dave's continuing to play Maxwell deep here. Even though the scoreboard did tighten up some.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Keithahn just tries to get a one work in here. And, well, that strategy's out now. Now it's just going to be short weight from Dwayne. Hit off from Keithahn. Keithahn is going to hope that Dwayne just takes his one here. And then Keithahn comes back and lags at 3, and it's 13-13. Or 13-12. You know, he wants to get in a lag out hole with his hammer, but at this score, you have to feel like Dwayne will kind of step off the brakes just a bit and make sure that he scores one. But with a player with his confidence right now on how he's lagging that board, don't be surprised if he gets a deuce in there.
You know, I was in this same situation earlier in a game that I ended up losing, but I was cheating that deuce. You know, at this level, you have to figure that Keithahn, there's a good chance that he will go out in 2 frames from 10, and so you'll either have to lag that deuce this frame or the next.
Yeah.
Definitely don't want it going off, but you're not just taking a one here. You're lagging for that deuce line.
Dwayne just said, "Let's just go home. We're done playing." That's such a
all the
stone-cold
unwritten
lag
rules
right there.
are out the window with that animal, aren't they?
I mean, that's just a stone cold lag. That's a lot of confidence. That's just
shook his hand. He shook his hand, picked up his weights. He's to his weight case in what, 10 seconds?
Jeez.
Man's on a mission.
That's tough right there. Great lag, Dwayne. Good game, man.
Excellent.